So a question I get asked all the time is, Jacob, how'd you even get your job?
How'd you do that?
How'd you even do that?
How'd you do that?
And I think people are asking that because they're wondering, like, maybe I could do the same thing. Maybe I could follow in his footsteps, follow a set of instructions and get a similar job. And the answer to that is no, it's impossible. You absolutely can't, because it was a stupid series of events that got me here that didn't follow any order or rhyme or reason and should not have worked in a million years.
That's discouraging.
But it's also encouraging because if I could figure it out, then pretty much anyone can. So in college, I was an English major, which should already tell you that I wasn't planning to have a job or make money in any way. I was already winging it from the get-go. In about my junior year of college, I became a huge fan of like webcomics online. And me being like an idiot college student, I looked at those comics and I said, I've drawn before and I can write words. Therefore, I could probably make a career out of this. To my idiot college brain, though, it made total sense. I was like, surely if I start doing this, it will eventually work out for me and I'll somehow translate it into a job. So I started a webcomic at the time, which originally was called Speaking of Which Comic.
I did not know that.
As it turns out, that name was already taken.
That's why I did not know that.
I found out months later, and I renamed it to For Lack of a Better Comic, and it was very bad. The early comics are horrible to look at. They're not really well structured or very funny at all, but I was happy doing it, so I kept doing it and started posting them all on Tumblr, rest in peace.
R.I.P.
And, just for months on end, I received no feedback whatsoever.
Throwing your content into the void that is the internet, as we all do.
Toss it into the content pit. I kept doing this for a while. Graduated college, was still just, making comics, living at home with my parents, working a retail job at a pharmacy. Then eventually I noticed a very specific new follower on my Tumblr. It was one Caldwell Tanner, who at the time I was a massive fan of.
Papa Caldwell.
Papa Caldwell followed me on Tumblr, and I freaked out, and that eventually turned into me and Caldwell becoming like, vague e-friends.
Yeah.
On the world of the internet.
Tumblr friends.
Tumblr friends, and then Twitter friends. That's the escalation. Tumblr friends, Twitter friends, Facebook friends.
And then
Facebook
real life. Official.
Facebook official, and now we're married.
Yeah.
But then shortly thereafter, Caldwell sent me a Twitter DM saying that they were looking for freelancers to do comics for College Humor. So I started freelancing, and then for a few months that kind of ramped up with more and more regularity. And that led to Caldwell saying that they had an opening at the company and that if I wanted to, I could move to New York and work at College Humor full time. Seeing that was like completely mind-blowing to me.
Yeah.
That somehow my half-assed, half-baked plan of I'd like to do comics for a living that I had only concocted a few years before managed to turn into an actual paying job. I still remember and will always remember coming into the office for the first time when I came to visit and walking in and seeing Caldwell and Nathan doing a Drawfee live stream and just being like, I can't believe I'm here in this office with these people.
Right. I would say that it sounds like you stumbled into success, but you can only stumble into success if you try and put yourself out there and legitimately try to improve and make an effort after some point.
Yeah.
So you stumbled into something that you enjoyed and then ran with it.
Yeah. I think if there's a lesson to be taken out of all this, it's be stubborn and naive with the things you enjoy to some extent. And who knows, maybe you too could work for an internet company.
Maybe.
You can dream.